You guys all ready for some Alex of December, boys? All right, let's bring him in. It's about that time.
What's up, Alex?
Alex,
how are you doing, guys?
Good. How you doing, man?
I'm chilling. Actually, was watching your stream. Very interesting process seeing the deck being designed. I'm impressed, honestly. As a person who has absolutely no taste and no connection to actual design, I appreciate people who actually can do that. So,
Alex, you, myself, and Tyler are all in the same boat, my friend.
Yes, there's no
there's
no
we have
good
Jackson on doing it for us.
You all have no taste. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, man.
Listen, we like you, Jackson, so we have good taste. It's just we have no talent.
That's right.
No
Hey, I have
talent
a
for
good
design.
idea. Before we get into this amazing conversation with Alex, because Alex, we are so excited. This is the first time having you on, and we're super excited. So thank you for coming on with us.
The pleasure is all mine.
We should have. Didn't we last year have people rename Jackson's name for the hour as well?
Oh gosh, here we go.
I mean, we can.
Let's do it. Like if you drop a whatchamacallit?
Exclamation point.
No, we'll have to, we'll have to think of how we're going to do it that we can change the name for an hour.
I remember that now. Bringing back the memories.
Yeah,
I forgot about that.
I think it was a super chat or something. Is that what they call
it?
Super chat?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do a super chat. If you want Jackson's name to change, super chat it up and you get it for that hour. You get to change it for that hour.
There we go. We'll see if anyone picks it up. But so, Alex, how you doing, man?
I'm doing fantastic. We just released. It was a public release. Of course, our Kickstarter campaign for our second deck of playing cards was launched in January, and now, like being overseas and trying to handle everything and ensure that everything goes smoothly, it's an additional pressure. But I feel like it went okay. So yeah, I'm mainly worried about all the Christmas orders and all this stuff. So yeah. What about you guys?
Shipping now, dude, is a disaster. So it's like you can't promise anything. It's like the best response to customers is like, "You'll get your stuff when you get it."
Exactly, and especially now with like we are also. We just I just received like the actual decks. I received them like 2 weeks ago. So no kidding. So I received like some prior before the release, but we wanted also to serve to our customers, and they were like waiting if they didn't like to customers who are living in Europe, mainly Eastern Europe, Ukraine, and all the other countries who are into cardistry. We've been asked about this. Like, I missed the Kickstarter campaign. What do I do? And I was like, just wait because having that shipped over here. Also, the customs clearance is like another, like you need to go through like get a special degree in customs clearance and understand all the subtleties and
there's a lot of red tape around that stuff.
It's crazy, that's for sure. And where are you located again?
We are from Ukraine.
Right on. Yeah, so it's kind of interesting, because we just did our first deck. We produced for someone, and I just did my own deck as well. And
I noticed you crushed the Kickstarter. By the way, I was impressed so much because
thank you.
Considering your following on socials, you like crushed it, like completely destroyed the Kickstarter, all the algorithms and whatever there is. It's fantastic to see that it's still possible, even with during these times when people are like saving money, they're unsure where it's better to spend. People like to invest in crypto, and like buying playing cards is like pretty much the last thing they would be doing right now, but they still do, and it's really nice to see that you guys succeeded with the campaign too.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, it's an experience for sure, and I think a lot of people, it's funny because we look at Kickstarters every week when we do the show, and there's a lot of people out there with some really great ideas, and you're right though. There's a way to go about building a Kickstarter that's actually going to fund well, and Kickstarter's starting to get more into the whole idea of like SEO when you're searching, and so the title matters and the subtitle and all this stuff. And a lot of times people throw up 5 pictures, 2 sentences, and that's it. And then they wonder why it's not funding. And it's like, you really have to play the game to some extent and build out what people want to see in order to drive that momentum there. one of the biggest things that we never knew about, and we've had a bunch of people tell us this now, is if you actually reach out to Kickstarter during the process and say, hey, would you designate our project a project we love? They will be willing to do that in many cases. If they like the project, they'll add the little tag to it. And that in itself drives even more traffic. So
was that the case with your projects?
No. So with ours, we actually didn't know that until after the fact. That's
Joel,
the thing.
thank you so much.
Thank you, Joel. We appreciate it. Henceforth
Jackie
known as, all right, I'll change his name. Here we go. Edit name. Let's see. Jackie Rubelstein. All right.
I say, you know what? Someone can rechange it too if they wanna up that or whatever. You know,
we appreciate it though, Joel, for sure. Yes, switch it up. But yeah, I think the interesting thing is we didn't learn that until after. And again, just reaching out to Kickstarter isn't going to guarantee that they're going to give it a project we love designation. But we always thought that it was them actively checking through and doing that, and we didn't realize there was an opportunity to ask. And now that you know, like, it doesn't hurt to ask, because the worst they can say is no, and then you're still in the same spot you were before. So it's crazy.
That's interesting. I just learned something new, and that's fantastic.
Dude, that's what it's all about. And honestly, that's why we love having people on who have done all this Kickstarter and who have really tried to work through the process and successfully done Kickstarter, because I think there's things that we all don't know about the platform, especially because playing cards operates so differently than some of the big stuff on the platform. Like, you look at some of the board games that are raising $10 million and all this stuff. The way they do a campaign versus how we do a campaign is so different.
I mean, yeah, for us specifically, it was quite a challenge because Kickstarter is not available, like, practically, it's not available for Ukraine. So I can't really sign up with my bank ID or whatnot. And I had to ask Artoplay, Denbach, they were very generous to help us out. And if not for them, that would probably not be happening. We probably would have to fund it ourselves. And it's not about funding. I just thought about, like, trying out something different, and it also was fitting that we had a contest. So we had over 170 submissions from different artists, designers all over the world. I understand it's not really ethical to actually host a contest. Like, designers submit their works, they're working hard, and, like, I mean, some works weren't that impressive, but still, and then only one submission is winning. So I was kind of feeling bummed about that, but there's, of course, second and third places. You can give them some kind of, like, consolation prizes. But at the same time, we wanted something special, and I wasn't sure that if I'm asking that from one designer, I'll be getting the back design that we wanted, and that's exactly what we achieved. And I thought, like, okay, so with this concept, it's pretty much new. I haven't heard anyone doing that before. Maybe we can start a Kickstarter and have it, like, as a unique, like a selling point or whatnot, because that is something interesting. That's something new, and it's just it's quite difficult for us to do that because, like, living in a country that is not supported as well, it's adding a lot of additional troubles. But yeah, it is what it is. So
yeah, I'm surprised Kickstarter hasn't moved into. I mean, there's a lot of countries that don't allow Kickstarter. It's crazy.
Well, and it's interesting too, because, you know, one of the questions that just came in, where did it go here? Erica asked earlier, what do you think about Kickstarter moving to blockchain going forward that they recently announced? And that's going to be an interesting thing too, because obviously everyone's still getting onto the whole blockchain, you know, hype train here. And I think there's a lot of opportunity that's going to pan out well and some are not. But for Kickstarter, integrating with the blockchain could mean that a lot of these countries that historically were not able to do projects may actually be able to now.
Well, I'm not really well educated about that, but isn't, like, blockchain mainly implemented in websites just to prevent fraud? It's usually done for that.
Yeah, so you could use it for confirmation of transactions and things like that.
Yeah, and then I'm pretty sure Kickstarter is not, like, expanding their eligible countries list because they are afraid that these countries are potentially going to be frauding out the customers, and then, of course, the reputation of Kickstarter will be suffering as a result. So I can understand that, and if they are figuring out the stuff on their end and expanding that, I mean, it's good, I guess.
Yeah, I just can't see Kickstarter doing that. They'll lose too much.
I mean, so the plan is already in place. It sounds like, reading through their announcement, that they're actually going to offer like a duplication of the existing Kickstarter functionality with blockchain tied into it. So it may be that they run in parallel, but I think a lot of the concerns, and Erica raised as well, and a lot of the creators who have used Kickstarter in the past have raised, is the eco-friendliness of a lot of the, you know, blockchain mining. You look at like Bitcoin, which uses exorbitant amounts of energy. You know, how does that play into the whole kind of mission statement of Kickstarter being an eco-friendly organization and worrying about reusability and things like that? So I think there's a lot of things they're going to have to figure out while they go through the process. But I do think also, I mean, Kickstarter is the premier platform for crowdfunding. I think they've put a lot of thought into this over the past, I think, 12, 13 years they've been an organization. So it'll be interesting to see what they do. That's for sure.
Yep, agreed.
Crazy world we live in right now.
And so what originally got you guys into the idea of creating a deck of cards using Kickstarter?
I don't know. I just felt like it's a new field for. It's a new challenge. It's something new. I knew that people have been funding decks before us for ages, but I felt like maybe we can, of course, find. It's like a different avenue. It's not necessarily because, like, for us, like I said before, it's so difficult. We had to either find vendors in the United States, just because the decks are being printed in the United States and we are sitting here in Ukraine. So shipping all of these decks here, you can't imagine, like, the customs are absolutely terrible here in terms of like the rates, like the fees that you need to pay to clear your parcels. It's outrageous, and to sell that outside of our place of living, yes, there are different services that can do that for you, but we'd rather like to see if we can do that through Kickstarter. People receive their decks, everyone is happy, and we don't have to bother about that. But still, it's work in progress, and of course, we probably have some other works in the plans, and I feel like that was the first step, and that might be not our last campaign. So I just don't want to reveal what we're working right now on. It would be probably a collaboration project. And seeing the success of the campaign of 1000 was actually really, it just goes to show how you can convert your following into people who are willing to support you no matter what. So they created their accounts on Kickstarter, they backed that project because they not necessarily maybe even like the project, but they wanted to support their favorite content creator. And that was so cool to watch. And of course, they completely crushed the campaign, beaten all the possible records. For a deck of playing cards, I guess that's an absolute record that is arguably will be not achievable in the nearest few years. And one more time, it's really impressive that it's happening in this turbulent age where people are unsure what to do with their money. And
absolutely,
still, it just shows that you can still thrive in these conditions, and it's so cool, and I'm so happy for the guy. You know what the
crazy thing about his campaign was? Not obviously the crazy thing is he made over $2 million, but the crazy thing is he sold almost 900 uncut sheets.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it just goes to show that there's completely.
Yeah, and that's not even add-ons. That's on like the actual tier.
Yeah, uncut sheets are notoriously bad in terms of like people don't really buy them.
Yeah,
people don't really like buying them, and for him selling those just goes to show that he has completely different audience who don't buy playing cards for magic tricks, for cardistry, for collecting. For sure. They just want a piece of art from their favorite content creator, and be it a deck of playing cards or like something to hang on the wall, it will work. And it just goes to show how this market is still so unexplored, and I guess so many other artists will be exploring Kickstarter right now, and Kickstarter is is so happy to see new customers like 1000
Oh,
in
yeah.
the nearest future, I guess.
Yeah, I mean that right there makes them a good chunk of change there, and it brings a lot of good visibility to the platform as well. And I think everyone was surprised at how well that really went, including 1000, because I think he expected a pretty big turnout. But you look at what were previous high earners on the list of playing cards, he beat them all ridiculously. So I don't think anyone expected to go that far, and I think it's amazing. I think it's amazing, like you said, especially with such financially turbulent times, for people to be supporting creators like that's great. So
Yeah,
I'm excited to see how it plays.
It just goes to show that there is always light at the end of the tunnel, and it just you don't have to give up on your like whatever you have in mind, whatever plans you have. You need to obviously make sure that you're doing your best, and then maybe one of those lucky opportunities will arise, and you'll be able to just fulfill your dream and have the support of people who care about you enough so that they support the campaign like that. So that's great for 1000, and that's really cool.
Yeah, I think it was exciting to see. I think it also goes to show that there isn't necessarily a limited pool on Kickstarter. Like, you can do a ton of stuff there and really see how that plays out over time. So I think again, it's limitless at this point. So one of the questions that came into the chat as well was, how did you come up originally with the name December Boys?
I mean, it's a no-brainer. Me and a friend of mine were born in December, so
cool.
There you go. And yeah, I feel like this question is being asked so many times. We need to make a Q&A video. It's been like it's about time, like 11 years since we started.
You should have an about us section on your website and just put it on there.
For sure. Maybe that's like it's just still a mystery. Let's keep it a mystery from people who are not watching the stream, and maybe we'll be doing a Q&A video in the future. So yeah,
nice.
Thank you for the question.
For sure. Now, what got you into Cardistry? Like, how old were you? What got you into it? And
I was like I feel like my cousin, she was a dealer in a casino. So she when I was visiting my grandmother, so there's like a lot of a family meetup, and she just took a deck of cards with her and just made a ribbon spread on the table. And I was like, what is this? Just a simple ribbon spread, but it was so even and so cool. And then she made in the hands riffle shuffle, and I was sold since then. I was like, wow, that looks so cool. And then my parents bought me Mark Wilson's book, Magic Trick. I'm not sure how exactly it is named in English, but it was, of course, in my native language. But I started learning magic tricks, and then eventually I discovered a free tutorial of Dan and Dave performing the Jones change, which, if I'm not wrong, looks something like this. So sorry, a little bit scuffed. But still, a free tutorial, because they taught it incorrectly in the trilogy, and they decided to release it as a freebie, just so people are not being angry at them not teaching it incorrectly. Although it was taught perfectly fine, I just rewatched the trilogy after that. And then I was like, what is this? What is Cardistry? And then eventually I started doing that. Another friend of mine, who Nick, of course, who was living just a few blocks away from me. We used to play football, which is soccer in the United States, a lot together. And independently, we found out that we are both into the same thing. And then it started with yes, let's start a project. Let's do something cool about that. And we released our first video in 2009. It's still up on our channel. And that video, coincidentally, also won the contest at Series 11, which was dedicated to Dan and Dave's 25th birthday, and we won a brick of Smoke and Mirrors, and then
it's really cool
from there. So yeah, I when we met at the Cardistry Con, I told Dan, and actually eventually happened to be Dave. Yeah, so yeah, we won that contest, and Dave said, yeah, I wrote that testimonial we had a lot of pisas in our video. Like it was I kind of cringe when I'm watching the video, of course, because like of our outfits and the flourishes that we were performing. But at that time, it was kind of decent, I guess. And yeah, then it just sparked our interest, and it was unstoppable since then. I had that as a hobby, and now I'm doing that full time for about like 3 years. So
that's awesome. Really cool.
I mean, honestly, I think you've always, you guys have always done great video. I know for me, when I got into cards, your channel was one of the first channels that I came across, and I'm sure I've seen some other people mention that in the chat, and yeah, it was always a good channel to go to watch cool videos, and even if they're deck reviews or whatever. So if you haven't seen December Boys YouTube channel, definitely head over to it.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun. I mean, especially for doing it for so long. Is it something you get tired of, or I mean?
Thing is, like I said before, I was so busy in the years 2014 to 2017, because I was the tragic events that happened in Ukraine, and of course everything that followed, like the annexation of Crimea by Russia, and then their help of almost annexation of Donbass area and what's going on right now. I was working as a TV journalist, so I was actually covering that. I was in every single area of this event. So I wasn't really into cardistry back then. And then I decided, you know what? I did my best to ensure that I'm reporting. I reported a lot of stories, went live on multiple occasions, a few times a day during these events. And I was like, okay, so I did my best there, and I actually want to pursue something of my own. And yeah, that's where I decided, you know what, I'll be working on my channel full time then, and on our website. So I am kind of embarrassed that we had that kind of gap. It wasn't really, it was kind of forced, right? But that gap that kind of like it was flat for us in terms of like development, and yeah, it felt like nothing was going on our channel, whatnot. And yeah, right now I'm full of new ideas, and I really want to start this month. Of course, we started with some tutorials, and we want to, of course, expand on that and follow up with something really cool next year.
Nice.
That's really cool.
That's cool.
And so, did you ever, looking back, really think that this was going to be something that would take off for you in the way it has? Or was it, again, like you said, a lot of happenstance around it and taking that opportunity? And have you found that, like, this is the direction you've wanted to continue? Have you found that you've gotten the enjoyment you expected out of all of this? Have there been times when you wanted to give it all up, or have you pretty consistently realized this is where you wanted to end up?
I don't think that I really want to give it up, because like if I give this up, I need to go and find some kind of work that I probably won't be enjoying. Yes, I used to work in video production before, and I'm not really sure that I actually enjoy video production. I don't really enjoy working for. I mean. When it doesn't, like, you know what, it's just like there's a saying, like, you need to build your own dreams or like you'll be forced to build someone else's. And I was like, yeah, I did my best in order to ensure that what I did for my country was I gave my best years to reporting live from these events. And then I was like, maybe it's time to try something of my own. And yeah, it's sometimes it's tough. Sometimes you don't really get the results that you expected, but it just all comes with I don't know. You need maybe to do better. So I'm trying to do better than it's what it is.
Yeah. No, I mean that's a good thing to strive for, right? Just always do better.
Yeah, just like Magnus
it's a never-ending battle. We can always do better no matter what we're doing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, I mean, you guys came up with a really cool concept with like the green card in your last deck. What kind of sparked that idea?
So that's actually Thank you for reminding me about that. I can't really show you anything right now because we're live streaming. So it's a green card that is green on both sides. And why green is because I used to watch, and he's not uploading a lot, but I used to watch Jesse Valence, YouTuber. He used to upload a lot of cinematic footages from like festivals like Burning Man, from, I don't know, some kind of vlogs from Venice Beach and other cool locations. And his transitions were particularly cool because he used like a big cardboard of green color. It was green color. I mean, there's a video like revealing my secrets or something like that. And he used that to transition from one scene to another. And I was like, yo, this green cardboard, it can be in your pocket, and you can use that for your transitions. I personally hadn't had time to experiment with that myself, but that is indeed actually really cool because you can use that as a transition from one scene to another. If you just put it close enough to the camera, you can use that in terms of if you want to replace the footage on the card to anything else, you can basically create your own deck. And people who are like into collecting decks and maybe having something of their own, I mean, you obviously have to buy more than one because you get only 4 green cards in one deck. But then if you get like closer to like 30, it looks like a full deck of playing cards. And then you can place any image, any animation footage on top of these green cards using easy editing techniques. Easy. It's actually, people think that it's like, what kind of app is doing? Yes, there are apps that are doing that for you, but indeed it's like, it isn't rocket science. And then you can have your own deck of playing cards. How cool is that? Everyone can have their own deck of playing cards. And it can change at any time. You don't need to buy a new one. So yeah, that was the idea. And I feel like this is a concept that still requires a lot of exploring. And there's something that we will be working on as well. So yeah.
Nice. No, I thought it was a really cool idea when I saw it. I'm like, oh wow, that's a cool idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, no, it was dope. I know a lot of people liked it, and there were some cool videos getting put up of different edits that people were doing.
Yeah, some people did some crazy stuff. Yeah, some of the best works we reposted to our Instagram, so yeah, you can check that if you want to.
Yeah,
if you're interested.
That's kind of the cool thing in the creator space is like putting something out or giving someone a tool that they can create something. It's like a gimmick. If you put a gimmick out there and you have your own routine with it, I think it's kind of more interesting and more fun. I don't know, maybe it would be for me as a creator to see what other people would do with my creation. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's correct. That's why people are coming up with their own deck of playing cards and then seeing that, seeing other talented cardists, magicians doing something with those decks. It's probably the biggest reward you can get. Like when they appreciate you so much that they are buying the deck and performing using the deck. It's probably the biggest sign of appreciation. And that's why probably lots of brands are sponsoring these talented Instagram cardists and magicians these days. And it's fine enough. Like it's actually growing. Like this cardistry scene. Like before, it used to be people were like buying deck and sporadically posting, and now people like seeing that as a career in a way. So it's really interesting how it develops right now.
Yeah, no, for sure. It's always good to see. Thank you so much, Laura.
Thank you, Laura. We appreciate the support.
Gotta change Jackson's name to Mr. Bacon.
All right.
Amazing. I just brought you 2 super chats. I need a commission from you guys.
We appreciate it. Let's see.
All right.
I want to get this thing as accurate as possible. So Mr. No period and then Bacon with exclamation marks on either side. All right. So now with the idea, and like Steve said, the innovation behind the green screen card, did you expect that to actually take off as well as it did? Like, again, it allows this creativity, but when you jumped into it, were you just immediately realizing, oh, wow, this is a brilliant idea? Or you were like, hey, we think this is cool. Hopefully other people like it too. And it just took off.
It probably, like I said, it has much more potential than we even ourselves uncovered to this day. But in terms of like Cardistry, it's like a very it's a community where they mostly appreciate the moves rather than flashy editing or something that you come up with. We just edit new dimensions. So whether you want to use these green cards or not, it's up to you. You can throw them away. But it definitely for laymen, and especially for if you're tired of seeing same cuts, same concepts all over Instagram, you can obviously try that out and see if it works for you. It's not necessarily like we're claiming that it's gonna be completely. I mean, maybe we claim that somewhere, just like it's like a marketing tool. Of course, it's probably not the case. It isn't changing Cardistry right now, but it's like a new dimension, something that you can play around with, and it's definitely it requires more work from us, and then I feel like it will other people might pick it up as well. But yeah, it just. Indeed, it is just like a very unexplored area for us even. But it feels like it's changing. Like if you can, yeah, for us it's like Cardistry is like, yes, it's cool when you have like a very technical flourish executed beautifully in the hands of like top cardists, and like you can watch that, rewatch, send to your friends. But if you want to go to the next level, what do you do then? So you can perform Cardistry for commercials, and then get like new audience engaged, and get more exposure for the art form, and then like getting green cards and replacing anything you want instead of your actual playing card is like the closest thing you can get to getting like a mobile phone being like flourished in your hands, and that is like a commercial for a Samsung phone or iPhone or whatnot. So yeah, it's just it's like we're an explored area, and I feel like it requires much more attention from us in the first place. Just if we are standing behind that, and then people might pick it up.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I think it's funny because even coming into the card community, a lot of people come in through the Magic side, and a lot of people that we've talked to have started with Magic and moved into Cardistry. Whatever reason it's, whatever reason they have, they have it. But it's really cool to see that there are different avenues in the card community, that are so different. Magic, you can have flourishes in Magic that, use, Cardistry within Magic, or vice versa, but it's really cool that you can be in the community and have these different, passions within it, but still be in the same
community.
Yep. And so, like you also mentioned too, obviously video editing came a big part in your life in general, just with Cardistry and as a career. Were you always into the idea of video editing, or was it something that really developed as a necessity because you wanted to show what you were doing?
When I was working as a journalist, I was like reporting in front of a camera, right? And I was always interested in everything that is behind the camera too. So I learned how to film because I was talking to the cameraman. I was like trying to learn, and they're like having this like big, giant like this, like a, I don't know, gun, like a guns you would use in Portal game. And these were the cameras that you usually use in if you're working on TV here. And it was difficult. I was trying to figure out how it works, and eventually learned how to film. And then, of course, editing, it was easy. It's actually very easy. So anyone can learn editing. So yeah, and once you learn like easiest parts, like how to cut a footage and how to make a film, I also learned some subtleties which are used on TV, like how long every shot should be, which different types of like videos, documentaries have different rules, and like short stories for TV, they have different rules, separate type of templates. And then once you learn that, you obviously want to dive deeper, and fortunately there's so many tutorials on YouTube that you can learn in no time. And yeah, that's basically it. So yeah, I was always fascinated with video production, but I'm just I'm learning right now still. So I watch my videos, which I filmed 2 weeks ago, and I cringe instantly because I know that I could have done it better, and I know how exactly I would have done it better. But yeah, it is what it is.
The life, I think, life of a creative, right?
Yeah, I think that's good though. You want to always be evolving, you know, you want to always be able to see those things you want to improve, because no one makes a perfect video. Even some of the best out there, no one makes a perfect video. I mean, there's probably documentaries you've seen on Netflix or Amazon or wherever, and you're sitting there and you're like, ooh, man, like I wouldn't have done it that way. Like the way you look at it now, because you have that creative mindset and because you're doing similar, you're like, oh, that was a little too sharp. It was a very harsh transition or whatever. Sometimes it pops out to you a lot more now.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you have people like Peter McKinnon, which all his videos look amazing.
Oh yeah.
He even cringes looking back, though. You know.
You know what? I was subscribed to his channel back when he was used to upload like magic tricks.
Yeah.
And I feel like it was like under 1,000 subscribers. So it's impressive how him and Andre Jik as well. The same thing with Andre. So we were talking in Hong Kong at Cardistry. So Andre was like, hey, I have this idea. I want to start a channel. It will be about finance. I learned so much about finance. I'm so passionate about finance. I want to start a channel. I was like, cool, come on, do it. Why don't you do it? And he's like, oh, I don't know. And Patrick was there as well. And Patrick was like saying, you know what? Andre is talking about this channel for about like 2 years. He can't really go and start doing that. And he started the channel, and that was like, I was literally one of those subscribers, like under 100 subscribers, and like watching this thing grow, both for Peter and for Andre. It's so cool. I'm so happy for them that they actually found both coming from our community, right? From magicians, video production for magic companies, cardists, and seeing them actually, of course, deviating from our niche, but definitely pursuing their passion and being successful. And mad props to these guys. And I am not, I don't know Peter personally, but I know that Andre is a fantastic guy, and in real life he's a great dude. And it's just it's great to see. And actually, I watch his videos and I learn a lot about Bitcoin, about investing. So it's great. It's great.
Yeah, and that's what it's all about, being a creator too, right? It's granted, you enjoy the process, you love creating, but you're creating with the intention of sharing value with people. And, you know, sometimes that value takes you away from where you started. Again, like you said, you know, Peter McKinnon, Andre, they all started in different areas and have evolved into areas where they feel like they can give even more value. Even Chris Ramsey, who is always looking for ways to go from magic to puzzles to the next thing. They're always looking for ways to give back that value. And that's, I think, part of what makes a creator successful as well, is realizing that it's not about you making value for yourself through the creation process, but how you give back to the community that grows around you and supports you.
I mean, that's correct, I guess. I mean, I'm so happy for Andre as well, and it goes to show that it's still, even right now, like if you want to start a YouTube channel and whatever it can be, like gaming, cardistry, magic, I don't know. But I'm not really into like magic. You know what? Like all this type of like magic ethics. Like, can you really reveal secrets to like essential slides and then get away with that? Is like, I mean, because the situation right now is like actually ridiculous. We have so many channels who are in our country too. So like they are blowing up just because they started by teaching magic tricks, and now people can't really work. I have friends who are working at corporate events and they're like performing the most flawless double lift, and then the kids like catching them and saying, like, you used 2 cards there, and like, how do you even know? I haven't even turned it yet, and like it's ruining the entire concept, and people are less willing to create right now. Like, I haven't seen a very, like, Serial 11 is not pretty much releasing anything when it comes down to magic tricks, and it used to be like big, like every week we have been waiting for a new release from them, and it feels like it comes from within. Like, creators are like more reluctant to share it. They probably will be saving that so that at least they can use that in their shows, in their performances.
Right. Now, which company did you say?
Serial 11. They used to produce a lot of magic tricks.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
I
They've really
haven't noticed any
transitioned.
activity.
Yeah, they've transitioned a lot to the playing card space. I mean, they've
Yeah,
been
I
doing
mean, the
amazing
success they,
collabs. But,
that's really impressive right now. I mean, two of my like things that I've been following when I was a child, like I was a big fan of Beatles, and I read all of the Harry Potter books, watched all the movies when I was a kid, and now it's actually impressive that they are doing collabs with these companies. So
yeah, it's cool.
it
I'm
really is.
I'm excited to see who's next.
yeah, I mean, it's going to be very hard to beat for them to actually. I mean, I don't know what they can top it off with. Apple playing cards. I don't know.
I mean,
There's so many.
yeah.
It's funny though. There's so many brands out there that I think we almost like forget are like nostalgia driving. Like again, Harry Potter is such a big one. Marvel is such a big one. But like all the stuff that you could do as like a kid or think back to, like all these toys and all this simple stuff. I mean, even something like I'm trying to think of something that's a little more universal. But like I don't know, good ones like Ghostbusters, something like that. You know, like that's something that people could maybe do a collab on. The reinvention of Ghostbusters hasn't done as well as I think it would have done, but there's so many ideas behind it, and it's exciting to see that they're really trying to not only deviate their initial plan with the cards, but also trying, I think, bring more people into that community.
Yeah, I mean, I think, I mean, obviously, I think the Wizarding world is one of the biggest licensing deals you can get, size-wise for sure. You have people obviously Lord of the Rings, which our boy Jackson or Mr. Bacon I should say, our boy Mr. Bacon is going to be doing. But I mean, I can picture Theory 11 pulling up something like that as well. You know what I mean?
Dude, people have been clamoring for that one too.
Yeah, no, for sure. It's interesting to see these companies doing collaborations with such big names and such a wide scale. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, and
really cool.
just to think that this like companies like the Universal Studios, which are behind, and John Carolyn Rowling as well, who are behind the Harry Potter franchise, they could have gone to USPCC directly, right, and produced a deck of playing cards, but they opted to do this because of, I guess, Serial 11 approached them, right? But they definitely had something like that in mind. And I was like Googling and seeing if there were any kind of Harry Potter, but there was like very sus decks of cards that I feel like were knockoffs. And I don't know if there were like any official playing cards, Harry Potter playing cards before. And they decided to actually agree to collaborate with Serial 11. And there must be a reason behind that, right? So must be some kind of additional value they can offer. Because like, can Universal hire one of the best top of the range illustrator or designer who will be coming up with a back design? Yes, they can. Can they ask USPCC to print like 50,000 decks? Yes, they can. And still they did that through Theory 11, which is fascinating, I guess. So to see Theory 11 actually nailing that.
Oh, for sure. I mean, I think what it comes down to is a lot of these big companies don't think of let's print a playing cards. Let's print a deck of cards. But if they do, they're not in the playing card community, so they don't really know how to design a deck of playing cards that would hit like the Theory 11 deck. We see many souvenir decks, whether it's any of these other brands. It doesn't, it can be anything. My Little Pony. It could be Hello Kitty. It could be, Harry Potter. There's been Harry Potter decks for sure, but they're not the same as Theory 11. And when Theory 11 or a company like Theory 11 approaches you, and they have such a huge catalog of all these big names that they've done and these dope designs, they have Star Wars, they have NPH, they have Saturday Night Live, they have Jimmy Fallon, they have the Avengers, they have all these decks that they're showing these companies that they've designed for. And I think these companies are like, yeah, and especially after picture how many decks they sold of the Avengers decks, like who knows, or the Star Wars decks. And when you go to a company like J.K. Rowling's Wizarding World, let's say they come to you and they're like, oh, we can probably sell 150,000 decks, 200,000 decks. do the numbers for them, then it's like a win-win
Yeah,
situation.
it's
someone
free
else is
money
going
to
to
some
design
extent.
it for us. We don't have to do
it's free
anything
money.
but give them licensing fees. That's it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. So no, it's a smart move on that part because again, like you said, they probably haven't thought about doing a deck of cards, and they may not have cared to. But if someone's going to come through and be like, "Hey, we'll give you $1,000 plus 10% of all sales for doing nothing," why wouldn't they say yes? So
yeah, for sure.
I'm sure the licensing.
Do you
is
really
much
think it
different
was
than
like
that,
10%?
It's probably
it sounds like
probably. Well, and so it depends because in a lot of situations, they'll usually do an upfront flat fee plus a percentage. That percentage though can vary. I mean, I've seen
4%,
licensing.
maybe?
I've seen licensing deals that are like 6%. I've seen some that go up to 30% though, depending on how crazy of a brand it is and how involved they want to be in the process. So, for Harry Potter and those, it was probably pretty low, but I bet you the upfront fee was probably pretty significant. And not like $100,000 significant, but it could have been like 10 grand.
Interesting. I don't know. I always thought that like if you're a big company, like big name, that like obviously who benefits from this collaboration more, like Universal Studios or Theory 11? Obviously, I feel like it's gonna be Theory 11 because they get so much exposure from that collaboration. So that would probably make sense for Universal to charge more. But then, do they plan to sell these playing cards from their website? Do they even care about these playing cards existing, or they just like do they even need money at this point in terms of like how much do you earn from a deck of playing cards compared to like if you release another like blockbuster movie? And it's definitely it's like an idea. I mean, I don't know. Maybe they're selling these playing cards at the Universal Studios right now. It would make sense.
I mean, that would be pretty amazing. It would be interesting though to see as well along those lines, like you said, they don't necessarily need the money, or they probably make a lot more money on something else. But I also wonder if there's exclusivity to it. Like, do they tell Theory 11, yeah, you're going to be the only Harry Potter deck, or are they selling that option for a Harry Potter playing card deck to 10 other people over the next 5 years, So it also could be that like while Theory 11 benefits the most in the long run, Universal or whoever is making basically endless money on it because they can give that licensing to anyone they want.
Yeah.
And there may be a delay on it too. They may say, oh, we're only going to give playing card licensing out every 2 years. That way it doesn't hurt our other sales. But yeah, it's such an interesting kind of rabbit hole you can go down. I think so many different companies probably treat it somewhat differently depending on their size versus the collaborator size for sure.
Yeah.
In the meantime, we've seen a colorful design being born. We just talking rubbish here, and there's something beautiful is being born. It's just fascinating.
Ridiculous. We can't chime in and
let's see if we can
actually
do a quick pull up there.
This was I think this was last year. I emailed we emailed the JK Rowling thing and hey, can we make a Harry Potter deck? And they're like, no, there's someone else making a Harry Potter deck.
Oh, well, there you go.
There you go. Theory 11.
There's your answer, Eric.
Yeah, I'm sure they don't want to. Again, I'm sure they don't want to step on toes when they're making revenue off it. But yeah, I bet you if you ask them again in like 3 or 4 years, they'll probably be like, "Hey, it's been long enough."
Oh yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
Yeah,
that's it.
So we are also going to open up the next raffle here real quick. We just opened it up. This raffle is for a half brick of the gingerbread deck from Penguin Magic. Again, Penguin Magic has been dropping some amazing decks this year. If you haven't checked them out yet, head over to penguinmagic.com. See some of the decks you can get there. They have fun decks like the Ace Invaders. They just came out with the gingerbread. There's still some of the Oak Nut Special Edition 2-deck series available as well.
Like
I have to say,
of them, right?
I think there were 26 yesterday, yeah, which was really interesting. But dude, I gotta say, I love the feel of those Oak Nuts. The gingerbread are really a fun deck as well. So make sure to do !raffle in the chat for your chance to win a half brick of the gingerbread decks from Penguin Magic. Dude, and Jackson, you're killing it here, man.
Keep going. Gotta keep going.
Are you on schedule still?
Let's see what time is it. What is it?
It is 11:47 a.m.
Let's see. Yeah. I'm good. I have till 12.
There you go.
I have till 12 to finish this, and that's gonna be plenty of time.
So now, Alex, for you, like you said earlier, you're not involved necessarily in the hands-on design aspect. Have you found that being able to communicate your vision to a designer is difficult?
Oh, did you mute us?
Did he lose us?
I don't know. Let's see. I see him moving there. Alex, can you still hear us? Oh, we might have lost him.
Uh-oh.
It happens. Damn, that was a good one too. But oh well. While we're waiting on it here, we have the raffle open for everyone. So make sure to check out !raffle for your chance to win a half brick of the gingerbread. And it looks like Alex may have just popped back in. There we go. Welcome back, Alex.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't know how, but I turned all the notifications and still someone managed to break through and call me right during the stream. So yeah, that happens.
Now, so like you mentioned earlier, for you, the design process isn't where your strength lies. You have the ideation, but actually drawing it has not always been the strong suit. When you guys have brought a designer on to help build out your cards, have you found it an easy process or a difficult process to actually describe your vision to a designer?
Actually, I'm not that bad at drawing. I actually was really good at redrawing things. So when I was really young, if I see a picture, I can redraw it like one-to-one almost perftly. But when it comes down to creating your own visuals, I blank. And I guess it all takes practice. It doesn't come just out of sudden, and you're talented artists and you can draw. I guess you need to learn, master, and rinse, repeat. I guess it's a completely different trade. I can't master everything. So I had a few friends who were good at drawing, and after the contest was over, we kind of polished the design, and then we found another artist at that contest website where we approached him for a 1v1 project, and to only complete the box of playing cards. We had the idea how it should be looking, and we were fortunate enough to actually Emir, fantastic guy. I mean, I recommend you guys, if you are into some kind of art project, especially packaging design. He's working on packaging design. He made this in no time for us, and even when specifications changed, like we had different type of adjustment had to be made because one company couldn't even pull off this type of box because we needed foiling. It should be either silver or hollow foiling on the deck. We needed embossing, but embossing was scrapped because we had so many challenging, difficult obstacles during this campaign. And also a funny thing that he was into cardistry himself. He's collecting decks. He was watching some Dan and Dave DVDs back in the day, and then he wants to design his own deck of playing cards himself right now. So it was by chance we met the circle guy there, but definitely it helps when you're working with a professional who knows. I have an idea, but I can't draw. I can't use Illustrator. I'm not talented at all when it comes down to Illustrator. And if you want to design a deck of playing cards, you need to master that, I guess, right? So yeah, it helps when you have people who can help you with that.
Dude, without a doubt. And I think that's one of the biggest things that people always get nervous about when they want to design a deck is they think that they have to be able to do it all themselves. And that's part of the good part about being in a community. We have all of these so talented people here who can help make these projects not just your own, but collaborative with other people and really bring it to life.
Yeah, I mean, there are some people who are really talented and can draw themselves and come up with the marketing plan and come up with some kind of visuals and photos and videos that will be supporting this release and release that. And it's just so hard to pull off on your own. So it definitely helps when you have someone who knows what they're doing on your side. So yeah, it is like that. I mean, yeah. But you know what? In this niche, you don't really even need to have a fancy design on your deck of playing cards. If you are, if you have a following that is going to be backing you no matter what, we already know that you can have a simple design, that looks like Towers of Jerry's Nuggets Casino or BWin logo, just mirrored on one top, on the other top, and come up with your own simple letter or whatnot. And it doesn't really matter that you have some kind of and you can have basic standard faces. And yeah, it just, people would be supporting you just because it is a deck from you. Design is completely irrelevant here.
Absolutely,
but it's always nice to have a cool design. But it
really is interesting to see. I mean, a perfect example is you look at Alex Pandrea with the Nox series, and obviously it's intentionally very minimalist, but people support that in droves, and at the end of the day, it's colors on a back design.
I mean, it's fascinating that he also now owns the entire niche. Like he didn't come up with a plain red color, right? So it existed before him, but apparently he came up with the idea of placing that plain red design on the back of deck of playing cards. Now nobody can do that, just because Alex Pandrea did it before, which is fascinating, I think.
It's really interesting, and again, you have that supportive community where, I mean, we see it all the time too with like someone like Orbit, where the circular aspect, which really is inspired by the original Tally Hose. Now if you see a design that has a circle that looks somewhat, like an Orbit circle, people are immediately
Virtuoso
like, oh.
as well.
Yeah, exactly. There's so many like ideas that are ingrained behind the support of a specific brand or designer because of that support. It really is fascinating.
Yeah, I agree.
It looks like we lost Steve momentarily as he resets his internet, so nobody worry, he'll be back shortly. But I gotta say, it's really interesting, Alex, to hear your take on a lot of this stuff. And honestly, for anyone who doesn't follow December Boys on YouTube, you need to check him out. Follow him on Instagram. It sounds like you guys have some amazing stuff in the works for next year that we're excited to see. And like you said, it's been interesting this year, I think, for creators in general, because it's been such an uncertain time. But I'm glad to hear that you guys are really keeping at it and really helping to keep that creative ideas flowing and out there and going out to the community and just making a large impact.
Yeah, I'm doing my best. Appreciate it. It was my pleasure, guys, and hope you have a fantastic and productive stream. It's good luck for keeping the same level of energy for another 20 hours.
We're gonna try our best.
Takes a lot of effort. Yeah.
Good luck, really does, but it's a fun time. It's and you know what? At some point, we're gonna have you on for a standard show as well, where we really get to kind of dive deep and pick your brain on a lot of stuff, because I think there's probably a lot that for the younger creative community coming to it, you could provide a lot of wisdom there that people would really enjoy, because I think you've really made a successful brand around what you love and what you're passionate about, and so many people want to do the same, but I think they're either afraid to take that first step or don't know what that first step is. And it's always great to see creators share those insights, Yeah,
I mean, I'd love to join you on a different occasion.
Yeah, without a doubt, man. It's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for coming on. For everyone out there, if you haven't, again, follow December Boys on YouTube and Instagram. Go check them out. Honestly, you're not going to be disappointed with the content. It's going to be amazing. Check them out. Give them a sub. And we will hopefully have Alex on sometime early 2022 and get to show you some amazing stuff that they're working on. So
yeah, good luck, guys, and thank you, chat, for keeping up with me and actually, bearing me all the time.
It's our pleasure to have you on, man. Thank you so much. And honestly, it's been fun chatting. It's been really enjoyable. So thank you. Enjoy the rest of your day. And I know it's probably later by you, so hopefully the rest of your evening goes well.
Yeah, you too, guys. Cheers.
Good talk.
Bye.
See you, Alex. So we are still waiting on Steve to reappear. He's probably resetting all of his routers and all that fun stuff. But the raffle is still open for the 6-pack of gingerbread decks from Penguin Magic. And while we're waiting for that raffle to close up, probably in about 2 minutes, everyone. So if you haven't hit !raffle,